The 49ers fired defensive coordinator Steve Wilks today. Specifically, head coach Kyle Shanahan is the one who fired him. Am I surprised? No, because they had some blunders this year. The D-line wasn't as effective as last year. They had the whole debacle when they moved him from the booth onto the sidelines. His defense wasn't particularly great against the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers. But with all that being said, his defense was really good in the Super Bowl. They held Patrick Mahomes to 3 points in the half, 19 points in 4 quarters, and 7 of those points weren't particularly his fault. It was a special teams blunder. So realistically, he held Patrick Mahomes to 12 points. He gave Kyle Shanahan's offense 10 plus opportunities to go and win that game. Unless the 49ers can go and get a big name defensive coordinator, this is scapegoating at its finest. Unless they can go get a Bill Belichick, who one, I don't think would be open to it. Let's discuss Bill Belichick before I name more names. People are saying, well, why do you want Bill? Well, first of all, I don't think Bill would be open to taking a defensive coordinator position. In my opinion, he's going to take 1 year off and then he'll become a head coach next offseason. That's like asking Phil Jackson after 98 to become an assistant coordinator for another NBA team. Yes, I understand Bill wasn't the best with personal relationships. He ran Tom Brady out of town. He wasn't the best general manager. He put together a pretty poor roster and made some bad drafting decisions. But as defensive coordinator, you have to realize the Patriots didn't have the best defensive roster last year, and he still had them as a top 5 defense. If the 49ers can land a big-name DC like Pete Carroll or Mike Vrabel, nobody will criticize the 49ers or Kyle Shanahan in particular for firing the defensive coordinator. But if they just hire some no-name... Oh, I forgot to name a big name, everybody. I forgot to name Steve Spagnuolo. If they can somehow lure him from Kansas City, this would be a huge signing for the 49ers. Let's not forget, Steve was actually available last offseason, yet the 49ers chose to pick Steve Wilks instead. If somehow the coordinator they pick is worse than Wilks and has a bad season next year, this was Kyle Shanahan scapegoating and blaming Steve Wilks when his defense, it wasn't that great this season. In the biggest game when you needed it, it was huge. It showed up big time. It was your offensive fault for not being effective. So we'll see what happens here. There's a lot of what-if scenarios and a lot of questions. I would also like to say I would like to see Eric Bieniemy put on as offensive coordinator for the 49ers. I feel like he can help Kyle when Kyle overreacts or panics in big game situations. At the least, he can help him add some variety to his offense. They are two great offensive minds who can come up with some ideas together.